Hello, Long Island. Jodi.
Yes, David.
I want to do things a bit different this year.
Okay, all right.
Because
I'm all ears.
I'm so into amping people up and explaining to them, man, it's up to them to make their life better. And I often pick on politics and politicians. I tell people the next phone call you make, the next email you send out, the next hug you give a child to, has far more to do with your life than any vote for any politician. And I believe that.
Yes.
But at the same time, business, particularly in Long Island, local business does need to work with local government. And I'm going to try and do better than that. And to show you that I'm going to try to do better than that, we brought on a guest today who's in local government.
I'm very excited about our guest today.
Yeah. The reason that I'm willing, not willing, the reason I have the honor of having this guest is that when I asked him what he wants to do, it wasn't about politics. It was about bettering people's lives. The other plus that this guy had is he was VP of the Melville Chamber, so we come from the same roots.
Understands business.
He understands business, but the most important thing to me, you love your dad, right, sweetie?
Yes,
you love your dad. And I love my dad. So before this guy's a politician, before he's a local businessman, man, he was the son of a politician in Long Island who for 12 years, his dad was Bill Lindsay Junior, I think, because they got juniors first and third.
They're so good, they keep it going.
So, yeah. But also this Mr. Lindsay, his dad just had a legislative building named after him in Long Island for all the great work that he did. And today it's mine and Jodi's honor to bring on Bill Lindsay III, recently elected county legislator in Suffolk County, Long Island. We're going to grill him on what he's going to do to help better Long Island. Bill, nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Jodi. Thank you, David. Pleasure.
Bill, you were a successful Long Island businessman, and now you're 3 days into being a county legislator. What do you got going on, buddy?
Trying to get some things done. 3 days in, and got a whole list and a whole agenda that we're trying to push forward, trying to help as many people as possible, trying to make Suffolk County a great place to live, a better place to live for everybody.
What's it like when you come over? Do you bring do you start a new staff up? You have people there before? How do you get your office started so you can hit the ground running to jump into things for people?
Well, I was fortunate enough that my father had a great staff, and I kept most of his staff, brought some other people on as well to supplement that, and have a good mix of old and young. So we got some experience, and we have some young energy, and some in between, and they help to run the office on a day-to-day basis.
That's terrific. That's terrific. How are you, one of the things that we talked about a little bit earlier before the show was that you don't want to be considered a politician. David mentioned it too. It's what you do, but it's not who you are. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Sure. When I hear the phrase politician, it kind of makes me cringe a little bit to think that I'm associated in that crowd. I've always considered myself to be more independent and not political, although I've been around politics for a long time. I just, in practice, to get things done, you have to be a politician.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's the process that we have, that's the system that we have, and that's the process you have to go through. So to know how to navigate through that is tricky, but it's an art form in itself. So my past experience in the private sector, as well as my involvement in politics through my father and through other campaigns that I've been involved with, I think will be an asset for me to help kind of bridge the gap between the two different aspects of life.
I think, I don't know, and I'm woefully inept sometimes at understanding politics, and for that reason, sometimes I get afraid of it. And you're wonderful. I mean, the things that you end up talking about and the things you know about, I admire, because I don't take enough responsibility for my own politics or understanding my politics around. How do I know, as a resident, and if you can tell us the district that you're in, how I would utilize my local politicians or work with them? How is that?
Sure, it's a very common issue and it's a very common question. I'll answer that. I'll back up a little bit first and kind of explain. Long Island politics is very complicated. When I was with the Chamber of Commerce, I was the head of the Government Affairs Committee, and we covered a 6-mile stretch of the Route 110 corridor So you figure very small geographic area, but very tons of business, tons of people.
Roadways over there.
Exactly.
You guys did great work with the roadways.
You've got state and you've got local. And
Well, that's the whole thing. You cross over 2 towns, so you
Right.
have between your state and local and federal elected officials. We had 27 elected officials that touched just that tiny little piece of area.
Is that why there's so much traffic?
That's
on
why, a lot of reasons why it's difficult to be in business there, because, all right, I have an issue, or I'm trying to build a building, or I'm trying to fix a road, or I'm trying to get access. Who do I go to? And unfortunately, the way our government systems are set up, it's a lot of people going like this, and not a lot of people taking the time to walk you through and help you get to the right area that you need to get to. And that's 90% of the battle. So one of the issues, or one of the things that I think is of grave importance in my position, is that constituent services. If you have an issue where you need some assistance, if I can't help you because it's not a county issue, I shouldn't just pass you off to a state official or a town official or the federal government. I should walk you over and help you and advocate on your behalf as your representative to try and help you get through and navigate all the red tape and all the different layers.
The door opener to
Exactly, exactly. Just, and really more than anything else is a roadmap to try and help you get through that system, because it is so complex. And that to me is probably the most important role that we have. Now my district, I'm in the 8th Legislative District. I represent Holbrook, Bohemia, Oakdale, Sayville, West Sayville,
Hey, Oakdale.
Bay Park, Big Point. Yes, I'm your legislator, so feel free to call.
What was that number again?
And part of Medford, so we actually cross over 2 towns. We're in
Oh,
Isla
okay,
Town,
yeah.
a little piece of Brookhaven Town,
Okay.
and a little part of Holtzville that's in Brookhaven Town as well. So we're developing and maintaining relationships within both of those town halls, because each is separate and each operates completely autonomously from the other. And trying to coordinate some efforts, because there's some things that we're trying to do and trying to get done that you need the town to have their buy-in to it, as well as on the county level, on the state level, and trying to bring all those people together. When you have, more people you're dealing with, the more agendas you have and the more directions that things seem to go. So
Right.
trying to just bring it all together to make things happen.
So, go ahead, Dan.
Being in the business end and now touching on, we'll say government instead of politics. To me, what I've been doing and others, the word spirit and attitude, they're so vague and yet could be fluffy, yet they're everything.
Right, sure.
We live in a country, forget Long Island, citizens are doubtful of Congress, they're doubtful of the president.
Yeah, distrustful.
Percentages are so low on how people feel they can interact.
Right.
Here we have a young, successful gentleman in yourself, 3 days in office. I'm sure your feet are certainly still wet, finding your way. Wouldn't it be wonderful to create maybe a different spirit and attitude of what's going on, with the understanding in my mind that Long Island's the place where change should come from. And that's just not me kissing my viewers' butts. Statistically, Long Island rates high in everything. We're the first suburb this country has ever built.
Right.
We raised more Intel Science Award winners than the entire state of California. This country keep talking about looking for change. I think it could come from us. You gonna help us do that, buddy?
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things you'll never hear associated with government is customer service. You think about any interaction you ever have with any form of government, the DMV, the IRS,
Right.
Social
Very
Security.
routine. Yeah.
Right, but do you have any positive feelings about any of the times you've ever had to interact with any of those layers of government? More than likely, probably not. And a lot of that goes towards the culture of government itself and the systems that are in place, that they only provide the service that they have to. They don't go the extra mile.
Right.
Because they don't have to. In some issues, it's an accountability as well. One of the issues that we're looking at and that we're trying to change within the county is incentivize the county employees to stand up and say, hey, there's a better way of doing this. Or, you know what, we could save money if we did this. Because right now there's no system in place where anyone would want to take that risk.
Right.
As an employee, and if we look at it in the private sector, you don't want to be the guy that raises your hand and says, hey, we should do this, and then that fails, and now you're the one that's responsible.
Right, the blame game.
Exactly.
We have 1 minute left, but I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
Man, your dad, We didn't get a chance. I mentioned them in the beginning.
Sure.
I know you're your own man. We've been speaking before we ever did this interview, but I'm sure you're very proud of him. 12 years representing this county. Just give us some thoughts on your dad, because I'm sure, like I said, it's something you're proud of.
He, he was obviously a big role model for me. I can tell you from the campaign and throughout the process, I've had people continuously come up to me and say, countless times, and the story would always kind of go the same way. I had this issue, your father stepped in and he fixed it for me, and it had this profound change for the better for my life, for my family, and so forth. And it would, as I said, the conversation would kind of go the same way. I'm sure he told you about it. Well, honestly, he never did. He just did it.
He just showed you.
Exactly. Because he was just trying to help somebody. He didn't do it for press coverage. He didn't do it for any recognition. He didn't do it to get votes. He really did it because he really enjoyed helping people and changing their lives for the better.
But how can people get in touch with you and actually learn a little bit more about what you can do for them in office, if you can let our viewers know?
Sure.
And then I think we need to wrap it up.
Sure. They could reach us in our district office, which is located on Main Street in Holbrook. They could either come in or call or email. We're on the county website, very accessible. I have staff in there Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. We meet after hours. I'm a very accessible person where we can meet whenever, whatever works for you. Our civic organizations, we do a lot of assistance for them and work with them often. So, any way that we can help and kind of get you where you need to go, we'd be happy to do it.
Terrific. Well, thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Great having you.
Nice
Thank you.
being
Happy
here.
New
Thank
Year.
you, David.
Happy New Year. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.